first thing we want to do is we want to look. Always, always, always look. And what we can see naturally, and it could be because he's had work today, it could be from an injury, but this shoulder's low, this shoulder's high, okay? We want to notice the shape. Oh, like there's a huge lump right here, and it almost feels like bone, just so we're touching that. But I want to see the shoulders. Let's take a look at the nipples. We can definitely see what's interesting is there's more atrophy in this pec, and yet, even though this is high, this is flipped. So whatever he's doing, he's holding himself in a manner where this is high, but that pec is pulled. So if everybody mimics that, if everybody mimics where the left shoulder is up, but then you have to fill that right, you have to lift the right pec, you'll see that when you do that, you almost get a cramp or a tightening here. So that may not be an injury, that may be the carriage, that may be what it is. But we want to see that. We also want to look forehead, nose, mouth, and then sternum and then navel, right? How lined is his line? Does he have a good line here? Or is there something in the neck, or is there something in the body, or is the hip? And if I notice something, I want to look at these two sides to see whether it's just being pushed from a rib, shoulder, everything else like that. But that's what I want to see, right? Julianne will often have them walk up and down the hall. Whatever we're doing, we just want to be clear on, before we even get going on anything we do, we want to see a person, right? And we don't want to just say, oh, look, that's there, and then go after that. We then want to back our eyes up and see what might be connected, what are separate injuries leading to different things, whatever's happening. Okay, if you can spin around so your legs are hanging off this side.
And for with women with the shirt on, you can still see that.
Yeah,
like the shirt falls.
It's very obvious. Once you see it, it's glaring and you wonder how you never saw it before. So on this side, we can really see that puffed left side is very puffed. That comes in. Oh, it's so puffed. Wait a minute. Is the puff bad or is this drop bad? And because the drop is bad, this looks big. This is not good. But catch yourself. Is what you're seeing actually somewhat okay? And it's because somewhere else is doing something that you can't see it, right? We want to look at that spine line because we can see it. We want to come up. We can see that this vertebra has been moved a little bit. There's a little bit of a curve. And then I like to, when I'm really doing a teaching on observation, here, and I want to get here, and then I just want to look at this line. Is it pushed over? Are they holding their head? And then the next thing is I just look at these, okay? Ears here, how tucked are they, right? How much more can I see one side than the other? And they're not terrible, but you definitely see this is being hidden by this rise, but we can really see that here. And now sit your leg sideways so they can see the side of you. Right? And then I just want to see that that's a very obvious, it's very striated in there. So I know whatever's in there is going to be dry and striated and separated out, okay? It's not right or wrong, not good or bad, but I just want to train myself to start seeing these things in people, right? Before we even do anything.
It's interesting, there's some washing tinnitus in the right ear.
Okay, and do you know how you did it?
Just came.
Recently or 10 years ago? Or
3-4 years ago.
All right, well, so.
No, pre-COVID, so it must have been.
Yeah, all right, so let's spin back so you're facing them. All right, so just boom, we just saw all of that. They came in with whatever they came in, but we want to learn to see. Collarbone heights, very different, right? This is way forward, this is not. But you said this shoulder, yes? Yes.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
By you saying that, and by us seeing something different in there, the way that they say that plateau or that being able to see into the future, I would be more likely to tell you I had a better chance of fixing tinnitus when it was one-sided in the side that we can see a structural change.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's how Bianchi had X-ray vision. He didn't have x-ray vision. It was just common sense recognizing that. So our person, they've come in and they're going to tell you that this motion, when they reach a certain point, starts to hurt, and we'll see them kind of protect or scrunch this side. So the person's going to do to raise the hand over the head, right? So to get the hand over the head, they're going to close down Shaoyang, because to open Shaoyang hurts. So this, Shaoyang opened with it, and then they're going to go height difference, right? And then they'll tell you if they come at a certain point, oh, that's where it hurts, that's where it hurts. And then if you press down and let them come up, oh, that doesn't hurt. So when you raise an arm, how much of this area got stretched? And in that process, that's where the injuries kick in or hold or they get weakness. Now, if I hold the shoulder down, you can raise it, but the intercostals don't move. So that's a giveaway that this is an important part to treat, right? So for those of you who have a copy of the Dao Zangfu Acupuncture, I wonder if I ever got to that part of the book, but there's a whole thing of like the shoulder, and you hold the shoulder down while lifting as a major diagnostic tool. So front, right? You want to be looking for that. And everybody wants to treat that because when this is tight, it pulls the bones into the joint. And then the joint hits those tendons. The tendon hurts or is constantly inflamed, and then people put needles here. Mildly effective, temporarily effective, but doesn't solve the problem because this is being aggravated by the bones being pulled in by Shaoyang. Now, if everybody takes their hand, and you'll use that hand, and we'll be about 45 degrees or 10 o'clock by there, right? And then what I want you to do is suck it into the body. And the only way you can do that is to push your scapula also forward, right? Now move it up a little bit, and you'll see that you're going to feel those two sides of the V that I was going around the shoulder blade. You can really feel that medial side towards the spine, and then you can really feel it catching here, right? So that's what's caught and holding somebody. That's what we're going to release. So that's
your hands tingle when you do it that way.
yes, and right. And so every time we stop blood flow, so someone says tingle, etc., that's because all of this has been sucked in. So at certain points, the joints are like doors, and they either pinch the blood or don't let the blood through. All right. So if they go and they get tingles, pain, or nerve pain, then the muscles, sinews, nerves, etc., are being caught in the door hinge and pinched. So it shoots off a pain sign or a tingle sign, right? If they go up, and that doesn't happen, but it goes numb after a few seconds or 30 seconds, then the bones are coming and they're not pinching anything, but they're creating a blood stop. So therefore, the blood can't get through, and so it starts to go numb, right? So when you have the active pinch, something's in there, we're gonna have to release it. The other is we've got to have to get some space in there. Either way, it's the same idea. They tell you, oh no, it's a different symptom. No, that's the exact same idea. It's just whether somebody got their finger stuck in the door when it closed or not, okay? And then we want to start figuring out worse here, worse there. The most common though is when they go to put on a shirt or reach for something in the car, depending on the side. That, pardon? I don't have those patients. I do not have any bum wiping people. I guess I'm an intimidating male that they don't talk about wiping their bums with. That was not me, just so the audience knows. That was not me. So if everybody kind of reaches back to put a shirt on, feel that triangle again and how that scap, but then feel how you could almost make this cramp, right? You can kind of get in there and then like move your elbow forward, back, and it's like, oh, there's a spot, at least on me, where I could get a cramp if I really wanted to hold that. And it's a doozy right there for me. That's where mine is. Yeah. I know. Well, what we did in the last two modules of Hamburg, there he is. I was just like, where's that Michael? That was a Drax. That was a Drax. So still, right? We will do on the walkthroughs, the camera's rolling as he's working on me, and then I'm pointing out everything that's good and bad. Very helpful for people because then they're like, oh, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. So important. We used to do that when we started building all this, and then COVID changed everything. Blame COVID. Sorry. So that's what we're dealing with. Yes, yes, those are our diagnoses. This is how we know whatever they tell us, finger tingling, numbness, they wake up with tingle or cramps or chicken claw. And so you want to treat this. It's not the hand, especially if you do these tests and you find that tightness in that triangle line. Okay, good. But what I really want us to see is in this position, and I'm going to want it a little longer. That's going to bring the shoulder blade. So here's the bottom of the peninsula. So I call that shoulder blade. There's the peninsula. Yeah? Let's bring the arm down. All of a sudden, I can feel little bumps in there, but it's totally not taut, and I don't really know what's going to be catching. Okay? How far up they can take that hand will depend on how serious the injury is, but there'll be a spot where they go, oh, oh, right? So we either want to be on this side of it, or we want to see if we go past the spot, is it okay? Okay, that's fine. So we want to choose our spot accordingly, yeah? So once we've done that, there we go. And he's making the good faces. And I want to follow that. That's not me, that bruise. And I want to feel that as I get in. And I've got a really good view of the intercostals, that wing or Shaoyang sinew. And I want to really find it. There's a beautiful one there. We've got the foot tingle moving, the foot moving down there. So we've got a rib and a nice one. Okay. Now,
was the collapse one.
I'm sorry.
That one made me weak.
Yep, that took the wind out of his sails. So here, oftentimes, if it's really tender like that, I'll say, okay, so let's relax. Now I'm going to press hard a little bit. Okay. Now it's leaving me. It's so soft in here now because it's not stretched taut that I get on it, but it's like log running on water. I go to bloop, bloop, bloop. It's really hard to trap. But I'm going to do my best. And now I'm going to have you raise your hand like we just had it. Okay, and that really pops it out. Now, there'll be people who, because I'm holding it, can't raise their arm any further, and that tells me that's the most important. As strong as this is, the fact that he could put it up while I was holding it tells you this is holding, but it's not an injury that is like the rip, right? Okay, so we've got our diagnosis. We're going to come across the shoulder blade. So come across this side a little bit. Okay, but the real key is going to be coming up into this line. Oh, look at that, right? This is where the channels have to split and come back together. And that's going to be a doozy in here.
You're still on scapula?
Yes, but there's the wing, so it's less. I'm not pushing for the scapula. I'm actually pushing into the injuries. The scapula happens to be under there. And then come back to this side. Here, it hits injury, it splits here, and let's see what this front side is. And I'm trying not to let the shadow hit there. Oh, so lots of sinewy stuff, but his face is pretty calm. Oh, okay. So this is why the protocol exists. And then I'm going to come up and under. And then, nope, disappears. But I'm going to suspect from experience that as they come together, it's going to catch on this top line. But I need to check this line, dead center, and then the underside. Oh, I felt it, but it didn't make him wince. But that's pretty good. There we go. I found it. And then this line is going to continue. Or it might continue that way. Okay? Now remember, you don't want to think chi channel. Chi channel is this fictitious thin line. Sinew lines are wide. So this may look like, oh, that's a different channel. It's just the edge of that sinew. And remember, the channels don't exist anyways. They're just conversation spots. So don't get tripped up and say, oh, isn't that large? Is that Yangming? Is that show? It's like, come on, it's here, right there.